Hello everybody, I am Razorblade Mango, and today I'm going to start what is probably my favorite list to do out of all the ones that I have been doing for the past few years on this channel, and that would be my most anticipated games list. And 2016 is going to mark something special. Normally when I make these lists, I always narrow it down to 10 and, mention a few honorable mentions that couldn't be on the list because it's only restricted to 10. Well, there are so many games in 2016 that I am looking forward to. Probably the most in any year I can think of, that I decided to throw away that old rule of doing 10 in honorable mentions. I'm going to do my top 20. So this series, not a series, but this list is actually going to be split into two videos. Today I'm going to do 20 through 11, and then within the next few days, or maybe next week even, you're going to see my 10 through 1 choices. I think some of you can probably guess what at least my top 2 are going to be, but you'll just have to wait and see. Now, this isn't going to be 2016 and beyond. These are games that, whether stated by the developers or through some kind of media, that have a definitive release date of 2016. So, unfortunately, no, Kingdom Hearts 3 will not be on here. Cyberpunk 2077 will not be on here. Some just stuff that I'm really looking forward to that does not have a solid release date is disqualified, will not be on this list. So I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts. And no remakes, no remasters either. So I'm not including Ratchet & Clank. I'm not including Kingdom Hearts 2.8. This is just original new games that are going to be coming out this year that I am very excited for, and I hope you guys are excited for too. So without further ado, let's get started on my top 20 most anticipated games of 2016. Number 20 is We Happy Few. This is made by Compulsion Games, who made that odd little game Contrast, one of the PS4 launch titles. I think it was the very first PS4 game that was part of the PlayStation Plus program when it released in 2013. And now they're back after a very successful Kickstarter for this game. And even before they released a Kickstarter for it, that little trailer they showed of it, I think back in 2014 even, maybe late 2014, where it showed the base concept of what this game was going to be, it got me interested, because it reminded me a lot of BioShock, just with the atmosphere and the artistic design of it. And what this game is, it's a procedurally generated game, where kind of a survival game, where you are a person living in the town of Wellington Wells, who is in this permanent state of happiness as controlled by the government. And you are a person that is basically pretty much a Debbie Downer, and you have to take your drug called joy. Yes, the drug is literally called joy. So, and you have to find a way to escape this town. And it's going to be a procedurally generated game where you wake up, the town is going to be completely different, stuff is going to be rearranged, you won't find the same supplies in the same place, so you basically have to start anew every time you die. And usually I'm not a big fan of concepts like that, but from what I've seen from We Happy Few, it's much more interesting to me, one, because of the setting, because I love the idea of this dystopian future that is controlled by joy, where the concept of joy is considered a negative thing, and I think that's really interesting. And two, I love the design of the residents, where they all wear these really creepy masks that force them into a permanent smile. The way the cops look in the world, they have these really creepy masks on. If they ever started selling masks of these, I'd buy one, because I mean, depending on the price, because it looks really fucking awesome. And what's cool also about the game is how dark it is and how vicious these townspeople are. Because if they see you out of a state of just pure happiness, they will kill you. If they see you even crack a faint frown, they will bash your head in, which is really cool. And the gameplay they've shown from it, while rough because it's still in, I think, pre-alpha access or something like that, it looks interesting, has a good concept. I'm interested to see what more they're going to add to the game, and if they're going to add more. But yeah, We Happy Few, starting my number 20. It looks interesting. I look forward to hearing more about it, and I'm glad it got funded on Kickstarter because it deserves it. It's a really interesting idea, and it looks pretty cool. Number 19 is Unravel. Now, people that watched EA's 2015 E3 conference definitely know about this game, because it got an even bigger push by the personality of its creator, who's this really sweet individual who came on and who's visibly really nervous, and he was shaking, and you could tell the excitement in his voice from revealing his creation to the world. And that's the kind of passion I love to see more in games. But does the game itself look like it could back up his enthusiasm? And yes, it does. Now, like the procedurally generated stuff that I talked about from We Happy Few, I'm not a big puzzle platformer person. I mean, I have my exceptions like Limbo, which I think is awesome. And Unravel seems to be another really good addition to the genre, and it looks beautiful. I love the heartwarming aesthetic the game has, where you're basically this yarn creature, rightfully named Yarny, who has to mend the broken bonds between people, and more specifically loved ones. So you have to go through the environments and find a way, using only a limited strand of yarn, to connect. I don't know how that's going to play within the story of Unravel, but the idea that you are mending broken bonds between loved ones is awesome. And that promotes a much more positive gaming experience. It gives you a motivation to keep going, even if the puzzles probably could get a little frustrating, because you want to see it through to the end. And it feels like you're actively contributing towards people in this world, and doing not only just these people, but humanity some good. And that is, I love that. I think that's so damn heartwarming and so adorable. I mean, how could you not think that's awesome? But you are a yarn creature trying to get people to love one another. That's just awesome. I mean, you'd have to be a cynical asshole not to think that was cool. And my only concern with it is that it's being published by EA, so we'll see how they publish it. I hope they keep their grubby little hands off of it and just let Coldwood Interactive do their thing. Just give them the tools just to market it, and that's it. Don't interfere. Don't cut out shit for pre-order bonuses. So that's my only real big concern about the game, is that EA is involved. So I'm pretty excited for Yarny. It's already developed quite a following, thanks to like the personality of the developer, and there's a lot of fan art, and the really cool design of the main character, who looks fucking adorable. And it's also, I believe it's either set in Sweden or Norway, one of the two. I'll have to look that up later. But it's interesting that the creator chose specifically either Sweden or Norway. He wanted to capture the countryside, just the environment. He actually went, I think he came up with the idea of this game while out on a family campsite or something with his family, and he started. I think he personally made the yarn figure that he showed at E3. I think he personally made that and put it on little areas and just took photos of it, and that's how the thought process began to go behind this game. But it looks cool, and it looks heartwarming as hell, so I'm really interested in seeing if Unravel is going to be this really nice, sweet deviation from the norm that EA is normally associated with. So, yeah, Unravel. Looks cute, and I'm hoping it warms my heart. Number 18 is Sherlock Holmes, the Devil's Daughter. I know what you guys are thinking. What the hell is this? Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the latest Sherlock Holmes game from Frogware Studios. And if that name doesn't ring a bell, let me provide some background for you. These are the guys who have been making Sherlock Holmes games for the past few years, I think now. I think the last one I remember, the very first one I remember playing was like The Temptation of Sherlock Holmes, and 2014's Crimes and Punishments, which was among my top 10 games of 2014. And not a lot of people really bought it. It didn't get a lot of exposure, but I think it's safe to say that I was one of the very few that was actually really excited for it and really liked what I saw from the gameplay they released of it. And thankfully, I was right. And I even turned some of my friends on to this game, and they really liked it. So that was cool. And I'm glad to see that they're coming back with another one, and it's going to take the same gameplay elements from Crimes and Punishments, like the logic system where you actually get to go inside Sherlock Holmes's mind and piece together the different clues that you find in order to come up with your own analysis and your own conclusion to the case. And sometimes you'll get it wrong, sometimes you'll get it right. And that was a really interesting idea in Crimes and Punishments. And it's one that I hope they refine and progress even more in The Devil's Daughter. And according to the press release from Frogwares, this game, it's going to have 5 new cases. And keep in mind, the cases, and if that seems small, keep in mind the cases in Crimes and Punishments were at least 2 to 3 hours each. I mean, they were lengthy and an expansive landscape you can freely roam around. Now, that's interesting. I hope it doesn't become this big open world game. I hope it's just like a little small hub area, say like Baker Street or something like that, where you can visit all the little shops, stuff like that. I mean, I hope it's something like that. I don't want this large open world for a Sherlock Holmes game. And I guess it's going to take a look at Sherlock Holmes' personal life, which should be interesting. And I think they're going to bring back the mini games. I hope they're better this time around, because one of my biggest problems with Crimes and Punishments is that the mini games weren't all that good, and some of them were downright terrible, like the arm wrestling game, which I had to skip because I hated it so much. So I'm looking forward to this, and I hope they release gameplay of it soon. So far, we only have had some screenshots and one press release, so hopefully they're hard at work on it, and I believe it's going to come out spring of this year. So yeah, look for that on my channel, because I'm really looking forward to it. Number 17 is Sea of Thieves. I always like a good pirate game. And after Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I think is probably the best one I've ever played, I'm dying to get my hands on another one. And Sea of Thieves seems to be the one to do it. And it has a good studio behind it, Rare, who hasn't exactly been at the top of their game these last few years. But hopefully this is the comeback from them that we've been waiting for. I like what I'm seeing from the gameplay so far. I think it's interesting that it's a first-person game. I think it's an MMO, and there's a lot of user-generated content in it. It's going to be, I think it's both single-player and multiplayer. So we shall see how this goes. Really not a lot to talk about with with this one, but there seems to be, it's like a combination of like fantasy pirate elements, like, treasure hunting, and I think there's even skeletons dressed like pirates that come alive and attack you from the gameplay that I've seen from it. And it looks cool. Also, it combines like some of the more realistic stuff, like, walking the plank, and you actually get to engage in ship combat. So I don't know really how this is going to be. I'm going to need something more specific before I really let my excitement for it get even higher. But from what the little of it that's been shown, it's looked good. And I think this is one of the very few games that Microsoft has in their quote-unquote exclusives library, even though it's coming to both Xbox One and PC. Keep in mind, guys, it's not an Xbox One exclusive, it's a Microsoft exclusive. So keep that in mind. But anyway, among their exclusives for this year, for me personally, this is the one that really stands out the most, in my opinion. This is probably the only one that I am pretty excited for. All the other ones, they look okay. They look alright, but Sea of Thieves is the one that is like, yes, I would very much like to play this. So, Sea of Thieves, ladies and gentlemen. It is Xbox One, PC, coming out sometime in 2016. It's an MMO adventure game, and it has pirates in it. What more could you ask for? Number 16 is Obzu. This was a game that was announced, I believe, back in 2014 at Sony's E3 conference, and it hasn't left my mind since. From the very moment I saw this trailer, where it was accompanied by beautiful music from Austin Wintory, who of course did the score for Journey and Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and combined with the beautiful art direction, this is something I knew I would definitely be interested in, and it looked special to me. And lo and behold, I found out this was actually the first project from a new studio called Giant Squid, founded by the art director of Flower and Journey. And I believe it's going to be released exclusively on PlayStation 4 and PC, as far as it's, so no, it's again not a PS4 exclusive. And the more I found out about this game, the more interested I became, because this is a kind of like a diving simulator where you go underwater, and it's not a realistic diving simulator because you don't have any oxygen, you don't have limited oxygen, the animals don't hurt you, and it's all about you going underwater and trying to communicate with the animals and trying to create some kind of peaceful coexistence between you and the creatures of the ocean. And there's really no story to it, but it like from that concept seems really interesting. But what really draws me into the game is the art design, which is fucking gorgeous. And I know I use that word gorgeous a lot, but I really mean it with Obzu. If you just go on YouTube and watch the gameplay footage from it, go on Google Images and look at all the screenshots, it is a treat for the eyes. And this is definitely a game where even if there's really no plot, there's really no combat, it's all about just diving and going around and exploring this wide ocean. That to me seems really interesting if the art is this good in the final game. And from what the gameplay that we've seen so far, looks to be that way. Because I believe they recently debuted something from PlayStation Experience. Game still looks good, still looks beautiful, sounds beautiful. Of course, it's Austin Wintory doing the score, who's awesome. So this looks like a really good spiritual successor to the concepts from that game company's, Flower and Journey and all their other stuff. So, and I've missed those kind of games because I really like Flower, I really like Journey. And this seems to be another game that could join the pedigree of fame that those two games have received. So Obzu coming out, I hope this year. I hope they don't delay it again, because this was originally going to come out in late 2015, and it looks beautiful. Take a look at it, guys. Number 15 is YookaLaylee. Ooh, here we go. We're getting into the even better stuff now. Of course YookaLaylee was going to be on this list. I made a whole video back, I think last year, where I talked about how you guys needed to contribute to the Kickstarter for this game. And why is that, you ask? Well, this is made by the guys behind Rare. No, not the Rare that's doing Sea of Thieves, even though I think that game will be pretty good. This Rare, the old Rare, the Rare that made Banjo-Kazooie, the Rare that made Donkey Kong Country, the Rare that made all the games you remember loving as a kid. I mean, I did not have that experience with Rare that I know a lot of people have, and some of my friends did, but especially going back and playing some of these games for the first time, thanks to Rare Replay, I can see why Rare has the pedigree it has. I mean, at least this team from Rare. And this game is an ensemble piece of people that, names that you will be like, oh my god, he's a part of this. I mean, you got people like Chris Sutherland, you got Grant Kirkhope, Steve Burke, Stephen Hurst, Kevin Ballas, Steve Miles. I mean, it's like the list goes on, and even to this day, they're announcing new names that are a part of this game in some way or another. I mean, it is a dream come true for people that really like Rare. And thankfully, this game looks awesome. It looks to be a true send back to the old classic platformer genre, like Banjo-Kazooie. And it definitely looks the part. It looks good. The sounds the part. The score from Grant Kirkhope, David Wise, and Steve Burke sounds incredible, just from the little samples that we've been given so far from the Kickstarter. And this is going to have a ton of content, and I'm hoping to God they don't fuck this up, because this is like one of the big Kickstarter games to come out now in 2016, along with Mighty Number 9. So I hope this is as good as they're making it up to be. I hope they add in all of the stuff that they promised with their stretch goals. Stuff like a quiz show challenge, minecart segments, local multiplayer with, I think, up to 4 players in local multiplayer modes with 8 different mini games. And there seems to be so much content. There seems to be so much stuff going for this game that it seems, I don't want to jinx it, but it seems almost too good to be true. But I'm hoping that the guys at Playtonic, aka The Real Rare, really bring it together, really bring a new generation of gamers into the genre of 3D platformer, and the collectathon that it's going to be. So I'm really excited for this game. I hope this game lives up to the hype, and I hope it brings back nostalgic feelings for those people that, unlike me, that did grow up with Rare and that love Rare to death. I hope not just for my sake, but for the sake of everybody out there that loves Rare, I hope Playtonic gets it together and pulls off something wonderful, because from what I've seen from YookaLaylee, it definitely has that potential. Number 14 is The Last Guardian. Yes, The Last Guardian isn't even in my top 10. That's how good 2016 is going to be. And maybe The Last Guardian would have been higher, but we haven't been seeing any new stuff from it recently. And I know the excuse is that they're trying to keep the story hidden, trying to keep it a mystery. But if I had made this list maybe back in June or July, The Last Guardian would be higher on the list. But, I need to see something much more substantial now that it's nearing its year of release. I need something more, Sony, if you want to be in that top 10 spot. But just the fact that The Last Guardian is on here shocks me. I never thought I would see this game again. I didn't think any of us would. This was nearing its way of being a vaporware legend. And thank God it didn't, because the game is back. It's a PS4 exclusive. It looks like the typical, what you basically can expect from Fumito Ueda, who of course made Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, aka one of my favorite games ever, and two of the most famous games in not only PlayStation's lineup, but in the history of games. Games that have such a large degree of influence on the idea of games as art. I mean, whenever people bring up that argument about how video games are art, you can damn well be sure that either the Shadow of the Colossus or Ico is going to be in that argument somewhere, because those are like the two defining games for that argument. And The Last Guardian seems to be another game that has that influence behind it from Fumito Ueda. And this is definitely, it seems like a combination of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus in a way, where it has the puzzle platformer elements of Ico and the climbing segments from Shadow of the Colossus influenced into The Last Guardian, because this boy can climb on top, around on this big dog, bird, chicken, fox thing. I don't even know really what to call it. It looks cute as a button, and it has a really kick-ass animation to it. It looks awesome. And just from the little gameplay that they've shown of it, I can definitely tell that they haven't redone the entire game from when it was first shown back in I don't know, like 2009, 2008. I think 2009 or 2008 is when they first showed it. And only now we're going to get it this year, which hopefully do not delay this game. Oh my god, please do not delay this game. You have had years to work on it. This can come out now. Yes, you can release The Last Guardian now. Okay? You can do that now. But yeah, it looks awesome. And I'm really happy to see it back. This is definitely going to be a system seller, like some games that I'll mention later on in this list or in the next video. But this is definitely going to be one of the big exclusives for PlayStation 4, combined with how cool it looks, the legend that it's behind it, and who is behind it as well. So all three of those things combined make up for what is probably going to be one of the most interesting games of the year, and hopefully one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives ever. Number 13 is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Yes, I know. The pre-order bullshit was indeed bullshit, and it soured the taste of a lot of gamers related to this game, and it definitely made the game look shitty. But now, thankfully, Square Enix got some common sense finally and decided to do away with that. So let's focus on the game. And Mankind Divided looks freaking sweet. I hope this is a really natural progression from the elements that we've seen from Deus Ex Human Revolution, which itself was really awesome. And I'm not as familiar with the Deus Ex lore as some people are. I know that this is more of I think this is where Adam has to deal with terrorist groups, and it's going to bring up elements of apartheid, the morality of augmented humans, how the government treats it, how society treats augmenters. So it's definitely going to have its roots set within the real world or issues we face there. But it's going to, of course, put its own science fiction spin on it and try to probe the morality and the social commentary on it. So I really look forward to that, because that's really interesting to me. The gameplay looks great. It's, of course, an extension of what was shown in Mankind Divided. Hopefully it has a better balance of the stealth and the shooting mechanic this time around. I hope the boss battles, are a lot better, because they weren't all that good in Human Revolution. And it just looks like a really kick-ass game. And I think it was supposed to come out in February. I think February 23rd is when it was supposed to come out. Now it's going to come out August 23rd, which is totally fine with me because summer is usually a really dead month for games, and especially August. I can't remember. I think like Until Dawn was the only like really significant game to come out last August. So it's nice that we're going to have a heavy hitter during the summertime like this. So, yeah, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I'm really looking forward to it, and I am definitely going to have fun running around these areas shooting up shit, and that's another really cool thing about these games. If you want to do it stealthily, you can. If you want to go in there Rambo style and just blow shit up like a madman, you can do that. And that, from what I've seen so far, the abilities to do those things have vastly improved in Mankind Divided, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Number 12 is Dark Souls 3. If you followed my channel at all, you should know my love of Bloodborne by now, and also should know that I am not the biggest fan of Dark Souls or Demon Souls. I've completed Demon Souls. I like Dark Souls, never played Dark Souls 2, so why would I have any interest in Dark Souls 3? Well, first of all, it looks a lot like Bloodborne. It's very clear that Miyazaki took a lot of inspiration from Bloodborne when crafting Dark Souls 3. The combat looks much faster, looks much more aggressive, the rolling mechanic seems to be quickened. The boss battles look more aggressive, definitely faster. So that right there, you sold me. As long as you get the Bloodborne, I'm not expecting it to be a complete ripoff of Bloodborne. I'm expecting definitely the more defensive-based combat, like a good balance between the original defensive-based combat from Dark Souls and the more aggressive offensive-based combat from Bloodborne. And so I'm pretty excited for that. And the game looks incredible. Of course, thankfully, I almost said Hayao Miyazaki. Wouldn't that be something if Hayao Miyazaki made Dark Souls? No, Hidetaka Miyazaki, who's back for Dark Souls 3 after taking a break from Dark Souls 2 to work on Bloodborne. And his signature style is back. From Software, even without Miyazaki, have always done great with their creature designs and their environment designs. And that tradition carries over. The game looks beautiful. The creatures look utterly terrifying. The environments look gorgeous. The music from the trailer is breathtaking. And this is one of the very few games that I am willing to get the collector's edition for. And I'm not a big person when it comes to pre-ordering. I don't like pre-ordering these days. I try to avoid it, but Dark Souls 3 is one of those times when I just look at that collector's edition, I look at that art book, I look at that statue, and I just go, shit, I really need that. So, yeah, I think it's $130 of that thing, $120, $130. Totally worth it. It's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to it. You're definitely going to see gameplay on here from it, because it's going to be one of the very few games from this year that I buy day one, no questions asked. So, Dark Souls 3. It's coming out April 12th, 2016. And I'm looking forward to getting my ass handed to me by big, ugly monsters over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to love it like the masochistic pig that Bloodborne has turned me into. Number 11 is Horizon Zero Dawn. Of course this was going to be on here somewhere, and I know many of you are probably surprised it's not in my top 10. But the reason it's not is because I'm hoping to see more diverse gameplay from what we've been shown. We've kind of been shown the same scenario every time this game is shown at a conference or whatever. It's always that game. There's always that scene where Aloy has to take down one of the big robot dinosaurs using her weapons, using that kick-ass bow and arrow and the cable weapon that she has. So maybe if we had been shown more of like the environments or the exploration elements to it, the RPG elements to it, this would be higher. But considering I have fucking 20 games on this list, it's cool that this game managed to be up at number 11, and the fact that it's a completely new IP being at number 11. So that's a big accomplishment for Guerrilla Games right there. Especially considering I'm not even that big of a fan of Killzone. I mean, it's alright, the series is alright, but this is way more right down my alley. Like many people, I fell in love with this game the moment they showed it at E3. I loved how beautiful it looked. The environment, the combination of a post-apocalyptic machine world combined with the natural elements. I'm pretty sure it's Earth that it's on. I don't know, but pretty sure it's Earth. How combined with, because usually when we see something post-apocalyptic, it's all dark and grimy and grisly. Kind of like The Last of Us. Even though The Last of Us is one of the best looking games ever, the environments in it, even though while gorgeous, still look kind of decrepit and ruined, and that's kind of that way in Horizon Zero Dawn, but it looks to be more beautiful, like nature has taken back the environment, and it's set like 1,000 years into the future after some apocalypse took out our society that we know. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be an open world game. I'm hoping they don't go all out with making it like the biggest open world ever, because thankfully, like they said, it's much more about density than size. I want to know what I'm going to be doing in this world that's fun and engaging, or else you're going to end up like Watch Dogs, where it's a big open world and everything is boring to do in it. So I also love the crafting system. Love that you can do that. You can take parts from the animals that you take down, improve your weapons. Kind of has like a Monster Hunter element to it. And definitely has a Skyrim influence from what I've heard, which is really cool. And I like that it is focused on a woman, which shouldn't be that big of a deal in this day and age, but is because of all the bullshit surrounding like the harassment of female gamers. I love that this Aloy, I believe her name is Aloy, the main character, she could be one of the big PlayStation 4 mascots. Because as I said in one of my other videos, we don't really have that many good mascots in this day and age. We don't have any, at least in this era so far. I think the closest thing to a PlayStation icon from just exclusively the PS4 era is the Hunter from Bloodborne. That's really about it. I don't count Sackboy, I don't count Kratos, because those are from the PS3 era. But yeah, these days we don't have any Nathan Drakes, we haven't gotten any Sackboys or anything like that. But Aloy, if done right, seems to be the character that can do that. A lot like Rey now for Star Wars, Aloy could be like a big female representative for the Sony PlayStation Nation out there, which I really like, and I think it's really cool. So, fuck you all you sexist assholes that were complaining about, oh, it's a woman in Horizon Zero Dawn. So, yeah, shut up, because it looks awesome, and this game looks awesome, and this is what I'm talking about for me wanting something new from PlayStation. When I think of a brand new IP that blows me away and that provides something fresh and creative, this is what I'm talking about. And you can tell that they put a lot of creativity in this, because it's a nice break from the norm for Guerrilla Games, who have made nothing but Killzone games for the past decade. So I'm very happy that Sony is allowing them to take a break from the franchise to develop this, and I'm very excited to play it. I hope it comes out sometime around the holiday season, like September or October, because this is one of the big games for Sony that could drive holiday sales. And for the past few years, like 2014 and now 2015, they haven't had a big exclusive to drive the holiday sales. This could be it. This could be a big system seller, like The Last Guardian. So if they play their cards right and Guerrilla Games puts in the effort, and please God do not end the story on a cliffhanger sequel bait ending like The Order 1886. Please have a story that stands alone. So with all that in mind, Horizon Zero Dawn, number 11, really looking forward to it. Just barely missed the top 10. And speaking of top 10, that is it for this part of the list. Part 2 of my most anticipated games of 2016 will be up sometime this week, maybe next Monday, depending on how things go with my scheduling, how my work, all the other crap I gotta deal with. So, awesome. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what your most anticipated games of 2016 are. Let me know if you disagree with some of my choices, what I missed out on, what I should have put on here. Let me know. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.